Hello, everybody, and welcome to this fourth and the last part of geometric isomerism. So, in this part, we are going to study the methods to determine configuration of geometric isomers. So, let us begin. Let me listen to the lecture. If you appreciate the lecture, if you find it useful, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so that you will get updates about further lecture uploading. So let us try to understand the methods to determine configuration of geometric isomers. Geometric isomers, as you know, simply exist either as EZ or in the nomenclature of IUPAC terms, uh, EZ, or in simpler terms, cis and trans isomers. But given a compound, how do you decide whether it is a cis isomer or a trans isomer, or for that matter, E or Z? Let us try to understand the methods. Okay, the methods for determining configuration of geometric isomers are classified into two major categories. First are physical methods, and second are chemical methods. The physical methods include physical constants and spectroscopy, whereas the chemical methods include cyclization, ring opening, and other methods. So let us try to understand each. See, melting point of a trans isomer is always higher than melting point of a cis isomer. Just try to understand how. The cis isomer is loosely packed. Okay, there are greater spaces in between two molecules, and because of this, the melting point is slightly lower. Trans isomer, on the other hand, is closely packed because of the characteristic shape of the molecule. The trans isomer is closely packed, and because it is closely packed, the melting point of a trans isomer is higher. The boiling points also of trans and cis isomer are different. We will come to this point later. Okay, a pair of geometric isomers can be distinguished on the basis of differences in their melting point and boiling point. For example, the cinnamic acid that you use in the lab has a melting point of 133. Just try to find out whether that melting point of 133 corresponds to cis isomer or a trans isomer. The other physical constant that can be used is dipole moment. Cis and trans isomers have significantly different dipole moment, and cis isomer always has a greater dipole moment. Now just see how. Look at this compound, 1,2-dichloroethene. Okay, this is the cis isomer of 1,2-dichloroethene, whereas this is the trans isomer. Now you know carbon-chlorine bond is a polarized bond. Chlorine, being more electronegative, takes the electron pair towards itself. Okay. Similarly, and so the net dipole moment, so this creates a dipole. Okay. And the net dipole moment vector for a cis isomer is in this direction. The vector addition of these two. Now look at the trans isomer. Again, this is a dipole created. This is another dipole created. But they are in opposite direction. So the vector sum is nearly zero. Because the vector sum is nearly zero, the dipole moment will be nearly zero. whereas the cis isomer will have a higher dipole moment. Now, just try to understand that boiling points are also affected by the polarity. More the polarity, greater the boiling point. And so, here the cis isomer has a greater boiling point than the trans isomer. So, dipole moments we saw melting point, we saw boiling point. Now, here one point to be noted. Dipole moments of substituted ethylenes are more complicated, and the generalization that cis isomers have a large dipole moment cannot be used. Why? Because if this is a substituted ethylene, okay, this is H, and here there is a huge group with a substituent. Here there is another huge group with another substituent. So in such cases, the exact dipole moment, finding out the vector sum will be difficult. Okay. So in case of long substituted ethylenes, predicting dipole moment, predicting and generalizing that cis isomer have a larger dipole moment is not very correct. The second type of physical methods are spectral properties. Although you have not learnt about spectroscopy, just try to understand that there are various types of spectra which can be used. The different spectra are UV, IR, Raman spectra, NMR, X-ray, and electron diffraction patterns. Now, all these spectra can differentiate between cis and trans isomers. Okay. So, for example, in NMR also you can differentiate between cis and trans isomer. In UV also you can differentiate about cis and trans isomer, etc. Now, coming to chemical methods. There are various chemical methods which are used to determine configuration of geometric isomer. The first of it is heat of combustion. The trans isomer have a lower heat of combustion. Secondly, trans isomers go saturation reactions more easily than cis isomer. Third, cyclization reactions. Cis isomers undergo cyclization reactions easily. Now, details of each we are going to see in the subsequent slides. Finally, the ring opening reaction. If a ring opening reaction occurs, the resultant compound is a cis isomer. Now, just see saturation reactions. This is cis 1,2-dichloroethene. When it is hydrogenated, 1,2-dichloroethane is formed. Hydrogenation of trans 1,2-dichloroethene also gives 1,2-dichloroethane. But here, two huge groups are close by, and the distance between them is decreasing further because of the incoming hydrogen or because of the conversion of this sp2 hybrid carbon to sp3 hybrid carbon. On the other hand, the two huge groups are away from each other, and therefore the saturation reaction is faster in this case. There is less steric hindrance. The chemical method of ring closure. Look at this. This is malic acid, and malic acid, when heated, forms malic anhydride, okay, by loss of water molecule. Now, its geometric isomer is fumaric acid, okay. Now, fumaric acid does not form anhydride at the same temperature. Why? Because in the previous video, we have seen that if 4 or 5-membered cyclic ring is to be formed, this ring is 5-membered ring. Now, 5-membered ring can only have a cis double bond. So, if there is a ring with trans double bond to be formed, it is just not possible. So, how fumaric acid forms malic and anhydride? At a very high temperature, what happens? The rotation around double bond is possible. So at a very high temperature, fumaric acid rotates and gets converted to malic acid. Now, once it is converted to malic acid, the formation of anhydride is easy. So there is a huge difference. Malic acid forms its anhydride at around 150 degrees Celsius, whereas fumaric acid can form anhydride at about 350 degrees Celsius. Why? Because first it has to get converted to malic acid, and that requires a higher temperature. Now, coming to the method of ring closure. You do the reaction. This compound is orthohydroxycinnamic acid. Now, the nature of the double bond is such that this is a cis compound, right? This is a higher priority group. This is a higher priority group. Both are on the same side. So this is a cis compound. So when it is heated, it gets converted to its sort of ester, lactone. Cyclic esters are lactones. So this H and this OH is removed, C double bond O, and then O. A ring structure is formed. But if the corresponding trans isomer, have a look at this orthohydroxycinnamic acid. This is a trans isomer, and this trans isomer upon heating does not cause ring closure. Okay. So that is one way to differentiate between cis and trans isomer. Similarly, here is an oxime. Okay. This oxime, upon treatment with NaOH, forms a cyclic structure. This cyclic structure is highly unstable, therefore it degrades over here and forms a cyanide. Okay. The corresponding trans isomer, where OH is on this side, does not react. So, similarly, ring opening. Quinone upon oxidation gives malic acid. Okay, it just cannot give fumaric acid because you know a 6-membered ring double bond can exist only in the cis form and therefore malic acid. The corresponding trans form is fumaric acid. Now, what you are expected to do most of the times, there is a question on discuss different methods for determination of configuration of geometric isomers. So, you will have to enlist the methods, the sub-methods in that. For example, physical methods includes the physical constants, then spectral methods, etc. So enlist all this and elaborate in one line along with the examples. The examples should include correct structures. Okay, so with that, we end the topic of geometric isomerism. Once again, if you like the explanation, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. So, thank you very much.